Well, and in the beginning I said that the message is going to be different for everybody.
Right.
I could identify with you because I went through the same thing. I worked full-time and went to school full-time.
Right.
And as a Latina and minority, I went through some of the obstacles you did.
Right.
I've had to work, I had to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard,
Right.
to try to make myself heard. And what I said in the beginning was that I feel everyone will identify differently, because I might identify with your suffering, but my suffering was still different. So, that pain is going to be different
Right.
for people.
And I think the call to spiritual awakening, I really believe my book is part of that tool that the Lord is using for spiritual awakening.
Definitely is.
Because it's a call to go within yourself. The answers are never outside of us. The answers are always within us. Because nobody knows what you've been through, John, except really you. Nobody knows what you've suffered your whole life except you and God, of course, because God was always there. But
Or anybody you've shared it with.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly.
But even the people you shared it with don't really know your true pain. They heard about it. They might identify with it from their perspective. But what you went through in your heart from the moment you were conceived till the moment you are here, sitting here today, you are the only one that knows it in its depth, in its magnitude, how it felt to you, what it made you feel about yourself, about the world around you. And that is, I think, why we're all unique, why we all have a story, right? Why we all could be in different ways, in different pains. Even the people who are starving in different places around the world, in a sense, that's also all they know. What I knew when I was growing up in Jordan was all I knew at the time. I come to the United States, my whole reality changes. I mean, here, you never know, except with the gentleman who just called, who talked about the Depression time. I think maybe they identified with it during the Depression. I also grew up in Jordan where we didn't have electricity all the day. We are so used to every now and then the electricity goes out during the week. I mean, on a weekly basis. We had the candles already set up. We gathered around the table and we put the candles up and we told stories. And you know what? These are probably the most valuable moments I remember, because that's when the whole family shared around a candle. And to maybe somebody from a different country, they might look at it like, oh my God, they don't have electricity. We didn't even have running water most of the time. And so I look back at these moments, you know what? I appreciate electricity. I appreciate running water. I appreciate that I can go take a shower whenever I want to and there's hot water, that I don't have to turn a heater on 3 hours beforehand to have hot water. But do you see what I'm saying? Even when the lack of it, even when we don't have it, because we can here sit and judge, these people look miserable because they don't have anything. But some of them might be happier than all of us sitting here.
And that's
Some
true.
of the happiest times of my childhood were at a cabin the family still owns in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. And it's got a well outside, and it doesn't have any electricity at all, and there's no phone. Of course, there are now because there's probably cell service. But I grew up, and we got up when it got light, and we would build a fire in this little fireplace in the evening and tell stories. And because there really wasn't, it's hard to read by candlelight. We cooked over a wood-burning stove. When we needed water, we went out and pumped it and brought it in and heated it on this. If it needed to be hot, we heated it on the stove. And those are some of the. But the difference is kind of like when you grew up. Well, this is the way it is. If you don't know any differently, and of course, in my case, the family chose to go to this camp, this cabin. We were always in a position, if something happened, we could always get in the car and go back where there was running water and hot water and heat in the winter and electricity all day long. But still, those are some of the finest family moments, because we also weren't interrupted. The family wasn't interrupted. My father was never going off to have to do something at work. And anyway.
And you talk about that love.
Right.
So for you, I guess the message I'm getting is that, and the call we had is, it's different. I mean, love from God is just love.
It's true love. I mean,
True
it's a love that we really...
Not material things, and things aren't love.
And here's what's beautiful about the Lord Jesus. The Lord Jesus could have come as the richest man, which is what really Jews expected him to be, the king, come as a king. But no, he came in the most humble way he could. He didn't even have a place, Mary didn't even have a place to give him birth. They were going from one place to another to even give him birth. And it's not because he couldn't just say, okay, let's be rich right now. He's God. He could have created that situation,
whichever
but he
situation.
didn't. And he didn't, I think, to teach us a lesson that God, I mean, in everything that he's done, he did it with so much humility and love. Everything about him was humility and love. Even in the midst of pain, humility and love. And I think the message in that for me, the message in all of us, I think, is that it's not the material. It really isn't. The material numbs us temporarily.
The love theme. Did your family by any chance have a copy of Rumi when you were in Jordan?
Rumi?
Rumi, a Sufi mystic poet.
Mm-mm.
Oh, if you get a chance, he was Muslim, about 800 years ago, a mystic of the Sufi tradition. Well, actually, he started the Sufi tradition. But he wrote poetry about